It's like one of my absolute favorite things that I've had in the Netherlands, and I don't feel like I've had anything quite like that anywhere else. I don't know. I think this is one of those things you have to grow up with to appreciate, and we just didn't.
In the last year or so, we've traveled across all 12 provinces in the Netherlands. And in that time, we've eaten a lot of Dutch food. From Poffertjes to Oranjekoeken to Zuurvlees. There are a lot of things that we've fallen in love with and a lot of things that we didn't fall in love with.
Y'all asked for it, and here it is. This is part 2 of our series ranking Dutch foods on a tier list. The bucket is back. Goedemorgen and welcome back. This is a part 2 to a video that we posted about a month ago where we ranked popular foods here in the Netherlands on a tier list. If you haven't watched that part 1 already, we do recommend going back and checking that video out first before watching this one. Today, we're going to be starting with...
I get to do the honors? Just in case you're not familiar with tier lists, today we'll be ranking various Dutch foods on a scale of S, which is the best thing ever, and Alex and I will each get to have one of those, to F, which is the worst thing ever. Oranjekoeken.
Oh, what an interesting way to start.
It is, yes.
Oranjekoeken is a popular cake in Friesland, up north in the Netherlands, and it's orange flavored?
No, it's actually a spice cake.
That's right, it was a spice cake.
That's
actually what triggered us, is we were very confused by that. No orange.
No orange, yeah. No orange.
None.
That has a really strong anise flavor.
That's right.
And it's typically topped with whipped cream and like a dried piece of fruit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember liking it that much, but I do remember that being predominantly because of the anise flavor.
Yeah. So what do you rate it?
C tier?
C tier.
Oh, we're gonna get so much shit for this.
It hurts my heart to say it, but that's just the honest truth. It wasn't bad, but I didn't really like it. Oh, I get to go again?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I got the bucket.
Advocaat.
Oh, so this is a fun one. Advocaat is like a thick eggnog pudding. Typically, I think, consumed by grandmothers here in the Netherlands,
yes.
From what I understand.
You're forgetting an important ingredient in
alcohol.
14%?
14% ABV. It's very boozy.
Oh my god. It's really alcohol-y.
That's good as hell. And that's coming from someone who does not drink.
You liked it so much so that we brought it to our last Dutch class. Right. And made everyone else try it.
Yeah, and I don't think everyone else shared the love of it that I did, but
I don't think so.
it's so good. It's like you put it's like a little eggnog whipped cream.
Yeah, and you serve it in a little shot glass. So it's like
Advocaat itself does not come with whipped cream. I think it's typically served with whipped cream or like on ice cream or something. I'm gonna put this on A tier. I actually really, really like Advocaat. It's you know how like some people say that I've got that dog inside me? I've got that grandma inside of me.
I will give this an A tier for you. I would normally give it B.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Yeah, we can't. There's nothing to compromise.
Yeah, we can't average that out. And I know how passionate you are about it, so I'll make a concession.
Thank you.
Pick a good one.
Vlaaien.
Ooh.
Vlaaien is basically a pie, but the crust isn't like a pie that I've ever had before. It's like more like a bread. So it's not as sweet, and it focuses way more
on the filling.
The filling, on the tartness or the natural flavor that comes from the fruit.
It's not that sweet. It tastes like an apricot. Like it tastes like you're actually biting on an apricot.
Honestly, this would be super close to S tier for me, except
I know,
I personally always skew savory over sweet. Huh. I'm gonna go with A tier.
A tier.
Chocomel.
Oh.
I also think we're saying it wrong. I think it's Chocomel.
Yeah, but people made fun of us for saying it that way too.
Okay. It tastes like hot chocolate. So even cold, it tastes like cold hot chocolate.
Yeah, it's really creamy. Mm-hmm. And the chocolate flavor is really nice.
Yeah, it's like sort of like a marshmallowy chocolate flavor.
Yeah, there's
strong hot chocolate vibes. In my experience, the time that I most frequently will get Chocomel is when we're at like a Christmas market and they'll serve it hot.
I don't think I would ever buy Chocomel because like I wanted it. There's going to be like a reason behind it. So because of that, I'm going to give it B tier.
I think B tier is fair. Yeah. Zeeuwse bolussen. These are cinnamon rolls without frosting. That's probably a little bit of a controversial statement, but they're very cinnamony, sweet pastries that are sold mostly in Zeeland.
Mm-hmm. You know, for as gooey as this is on the outside, it's actually not too sweet. I do think one of the things that sets it apart from a cinnamon roll, aside from the lack of frosting, is that the pastry dough is a little bit more on the bready
It
side
is.
than like the flaky, buttery side. For me, I would give this B tier.
Yeah, I'd give it B tier too.
Appeltaarten.
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 So close.
Sorry.
Appeltaarten is probably one of the more well-known Dutch foods. It's Dutch apple pie.
But it's not how Americans would know Dutch apple pie.
Oh, that's true. Dutch
Yeah.
apple pie in the United States is a different thing, which is also weird.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense because I've never seen what Americans call Dutch apple pie here.
Flavor is really good. It's very cinnamony. There are raisins in it.
What's to say about apple tart?
Yeah, I don't know.
We got the one. It was in a lot of our previous videos. We used to get it when we were celebrating our like subscriber milestones. We started with the one from Jumbo, and then we moved up to the one from Dudok. I think I would always eat Vlaaien over apple tart.
Ooh.
Oh,
that's a really good point. But should we really be comparing it like that?
Yeah,
though?
that's literally the point of the video.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna put it at B tier only because I think we were lucky to put Vlaaien in A tier so early on in this video, and I think that set a really strong standard. Oh, here's another Zeeland specialty, Zeeuwse mosselen.
Ooh.
These are mussels that are cultivated off the coast of Zeeland,
Mhm.
and they're seasonal. They're seasonal actually for most of the year, which I did not realize until fairly recently.
I thought it was like 3 months out of the year, but it's like
most of the year.
9.
It's like it's like almost all of the year except for 3 months.
Yeah.
They're delicious. They're buttery. They're not too chewy. They're delicious.
Unfortunately, I've never had them because I'm allergic to mussels.
Yeah.
So this one's they smell delicious and they look delicious.
See,
so
for
this one's all
me,
you.
this would be in my head. This is borderline S tier because it's delicious,
Mhm.
and you kind of have it. Has to be special.
You talk about them.
I can't go
all
to
the
Albert
time.
Heijn and get them.
Yeah.
And
You
if you
actually
can, you
can.
should.
You actually can.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm not going to prepare them as well
I
as
know.
a
I'm
restaurant would.
just saying they have everything.
I just, I think for the purposes of this tier list today, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the S tier because I have not yet claimed my S tier. for
Yeah,
this
that's
video.
your
That's
S
my
tier.
my S tier
Okay.
item.
Zuurvlees.
Well, there goes my S tier. I love Zuurvlees. I love it.
Okay, describe what it is.
So Zuurvlees is another regional specialty from Limburg, and it's I mean, how do you describe it? It's stewed, typically beef,
Mhm.
traditionally horse.
Yep.
And there's just a whole array of delicious spices in there, from like gingerbread,
Yeah, there are chunks of gingerbread in it too.
yes, to I don't even like cloves.
Yeah, cloves. It's a very like warm
Yes,
kind of
aromatic.
taste, and I think they soak traditionally they soak the beef or the horse in vinegar.
The stew is just like so tangy.
I mean, for me, this is 100%
Oh
S
my
tier. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to
gosh.
be moving the mussels down to A tier. What about for you?
For me, I think this is still A tier.
Uitsmijter.
Ooh. I might be pronouncing this wrong, but I believe this is called an Uitsmijter. It's delicious.
I mean, it's not really like Dutch food per se. It's more like a Dutch preparation.
Yeah.
It's bread with a fried egg on top, and usually like ham or something else that goes with it, and cheese. I
Cheese
think.
on top.
I've had bad ones. I've had good ones, but even when you have one that's bad, it still hits the spot
It
pretty
still
well.
is good.
It's
and
a pretty solid
comforting.
meal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I made them recently
You
at
did.
home too, which they were very good.
Yep.
Did some tomatoes instead of the ham.
Oh, you did do tomatoes instead of ham.
and
That
with
was
the
really
Cholula
nice.
on it to give it a little extra something.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like in our last video we went too heavy on B tier, and now I think we're going too heavy on A tier.
I know.
Is that a bad thing? I don't know.
I think I'm going to give it B tier because
I don't know. I think it's A tier.
do you think it's A tier?
We like to eat it, and we will like search it out.
I know we go to places that have it.
We make it at home. I think it has to be A
Oh,
tier.
man, A tier. A tier is so heavy.
Saucijzenbroodjes.
Ooh.
So these are sausage rolls. I mean, we had a Greg's sausage roll recently from London, and we were
Yeah.
trying to compare the two. I always kind of thought they would be identical, and just like, oh, it's a sausage roll. You know what they are.
Wow, it's a lot more bland than a Worstenbroodje or a Saucijzenbroodje. Like, the sausage really doesn't have that much flavor.
The ones in the Netherlands are croissanty, they're
Yeah.
buttery, they're crispy. You can get a Saucijzenbroodje from a grocery store here,
Mhm.
from like a kiosk, literally called kiosk at the train stations. They're everywhere, and honestly, it's a great snack. It's a buttery croissant exterior,
Mhm.
and a sausage inside. There's really not much more to it. I'm gonna go with A tier.
A tier for me
It's
too.
a guarantee. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just like you can't go wrong with
If
the
you're
Saucijzenbroodje.
hungry, just get it. That's the new motto. Ah,
Oh,
Worstenbroodjes.
that's relevant.
Yeah. So how do Worstenbroodjes differ from a Saucijzenbroodje?
A question we also asked ourselves up
Mhm.
until we went to
But
Eindhoven.
we're more educated.
Big difference from what I understand is Saucijzenbroodjes are a sausage that's wrapped around a puff pastry, and Worstenbroodjes are wrapped in something that's a bit more akin to bread.
Honestly, I think of the two, I think I prefer Worstenbroodjes.
I do too. Yes. Here's what I would propose.
Okay.
I think we should move Saucijzenbroodje to B and put Worstenbroodjes in A.
I don't think we can do that because if you look at our B tier, it doesn't feel right to put Saucijzenbroodjes in there with.
But wouldn't you
Those
always
things.
get if you're presented with one of the two?
Yeah, but I don't think that means that I would move one lower.
Okay, A tier. Hagelslag.
Here we go. Hagelslag is untoasted bread with butter and sprinkles on top.
Mhm.
Or Hagelslag on top, I
Yeah.
should say. I don't think it's necessarily sprinkles. I think some people would say that they're different, and that's fair. I would agree with that. I don't know. I think this is one of those things you have to grow up with to appreciate, and
Yeah.
we just didn't.
Yeah.
I like bread. I like butter.
I like all of the ingredients individually, but
Yeah.
together, I don't think I would ever eat it outside of like maybe for like a video
Yeah.
that we do.
C tier.
Oh, C tier.
Are you gonna put it as F
I
tier?
was gonna put it in F tier.
F tier.
Yeah. I just like it's not
You think it's
good.
F tier?
Yeah, it's not very good.
You remember what we had in F tier in our last video?
Drop.
You think the Hagelslag is as bad as drop? No, we're putting in C.
Okay,
That's an
C.
insane take. Oliebollen.
Ooh.
Oliebollen is fragisto. It's akin to a donut,
Yep.
but it's much heartier.
I really have no idea how they do this. The outside is so crispy, like you get an audible crunch when you bite into it. And then as soon as you open it up, the inside just like is bouncy and completely like expands. And it's just like, it's so good.
You find a good Oliebollen bakery, it can be like some next level shit, man. Like they
Yeah.
can just be unbelievable. The one in Dordrecht.
I was gonna say shout out to the one in Dordrecht,
Yeah.
Stadspolder.
Yeah,
That is top tier.
Stadspolders.
Stadspolders? Yeah.
there's
Top
multiple.
yeah. Top tier.
I'm gonna go with A tier.
A tier.
How can it not be A tier? Honestly, I think for a lot of people, this is gonna be S tier for them.
Kapsalon.
Oh wow. Kapsalon is a bed of fries with various salad toppings like lettuce, chopped tomatoes,
Onions.
and then usually like a spicy sauce, like a sambal and garlic, and then doner.
Yeah.
It is.
And
And cheese.
I was like,
How
you're
could I
gonna
forget the cheese?
cheese.
It's predominantly sold at Turkish restaurants here in the Netherlands.
Yep.
But it was actually invented here in Rotterdam. I say here loosely because we're in Dordrecht, which is close to Rotterdam. I guess I mean in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, close enough.
This is the best. I have a headache food, and I want something that's just like really, really greasy.
I crave it, but I have to like tell myself that I shouldn't get it. If I eat a Kapsalon for lunch, I would probably be like sitting on the couch the rest of the day.
Yeah. I mean, it makes you slow down though,
And slowing down is really important. That's true. I mean, it can't not be A tier. I think my question for you is, do you want to make this an S tier for you?
This is S tier for me.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Poffertjes.
Poffertjes are little itty bitty pancakes that are cooked on teeny tiny
Itty bitty.
little cakes that are cooked on like a cast iron mold, and you'll see it that the mold is already made for them. So they just like pour the batter in there, they flip them halfway through, so they get this like delicious buttery.
Yeah, and then what do
crust
they do with it?
on each side?
And then what?
And then they fork it up and they put it on a little paper plate.
You're skipping the most important
no,
part.
I'm not,
Get
I'm
to
not
it.
there
Get
yet.
to
I'm
it.
drawing it out.
This is the
and
longest.
then they put
This is just like a straight up slices of butter on it.
Poffertjes are amazing.
Mhm.
And they also slap when you're at like a Christmas market or something in the Netherlands.
To me, that's when they slap the most, is
Yeah,
because like
it's cold
those
outside.
people at the Christmas markets, like they know what they're doing.
Mhm.
A tier.
A
for
tier.
sure.
Okay, so now's the part of the video where we're going to combine this tier list with the tier list that we did in the last video and see if we need to move things around. Because remember, Michelle and I can only have one thing in S tier each. Well, so right now we have to figure out what we're going to move down from S tier. I've got Zuurvlees.
Oh my gosh, Sorry, I just realized what we actually have to do here.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult.
No.
So I've got Surflace, and in the prior video, I put air to soup, or split pea soup, in as my S tier, and then you chose Kibling in the last video, and then in this one you did Kapsalon.
Wow, this
So
makes
for
me look
me-
like an unhealthy person.
So I'm going to go ahead and put the air to soup in A tier for me.
What?
I know, because
Oh my god, justify
I-
yourself.
I love Surflace, and I can't get it all the time. Kibling or Kapsalon, Michelle?
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, I think I'm gonna swap out the Kibling for the Kapsalon.
Anything else that we want to move around based on
Okay.
this?
I don't think I would move anything else.
No, I don't think I would either. Presenting our final combined ranking. What do y'all think? Let us know in the comments. Well, that was a lot of fun, and honestly, right now, I am really craving some Surflace. I actually looked for it when we were doing our 3 cities video in Weert.
Oh, really?
I couldn't find a place that surfed it.
That's a bummer.
I know.
Well, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all next week.
So it's on.